Hi friends, thanks for joining us again here this week on What's New at GP Knives. We have an awesome selection this week for you guys. We got some limited edition stuff, some stuff from Protech, Benchmade, little Dave Curtis customs thrown in there. Me and Kitch are going to check them all out for you and you're going to want to see it. All right, kicking us off this week, Kitch, is we have a very special limited edition Benchmade SHOT Show knife. So I don't know if you guys know this, but every year they make one special knife for their SHOT Show release. They take one of their standard models and they upgrade it. It's pretty neat. It's a very limited edition run. It's usually a certain number of pieces and only the dealers get them. So this year we have the Bailout, which is a super cool knife already. It comes in 3V steel this time and in your favorite color.
Yeah, definitely.
Which you should definitely check that out.
I really like how they did the burnt orange. Orange is my favorite color, and then you get this blue accent, and it's kind of different. Normally when we see blue accents on Benchmade, they're kind of that Benchmade blue.
Right.
This is a little bit more of kind of like a lighter blue. I mean, I wouldn't call it teal, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Denver Bronco knife.
Sure.
Lighter blue.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, the Bailout's super cool. They even did like a stonewashed clip instead of a black clip. You get uncoated 3V, which is super rare for Benchmade. You don't get that a whole lot either.
Right.
So it's a really neat knife. It's a cool little iteration, a nice little special edition knife that I think is probably one of the better looking knives that they have made. I know at SHOT Show they were talking about doing more color. So to see this thing come out and be just that is really neat.
Yeah, pretty impressive. It's definitely a looker. I really like this knife. It's super cool too because it's something they do annually and you can only get it a certain time of year and once they're gone, they're gone.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. I really like that. You guys are going to want to check that out on the website for sure. Next up is we got some Sharp by Design. These are called the Mini Evo. So we had a run of these a couple weeks ago with carbon fiber and green micarta. This is basically the most upgraded version of this knife that will be made. It's got fat carbon inlays in it. We've got a purple and we have this like nebula that's really kind of like a red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. Really takes this thing over the top.
Yeah, this is a really cool knife. The action on these is really good. And if you look in there, it's kind of because it doesn't have a detent ball. It kind of has a detent ridge on that lock bar insert.
Oh, interesting.
And then if you look back here, this is kind of where it locks in. So it makes it have a super snappy detent. It's one of the better detents I've ever felt. Yeah. It feels much different than a detent ball. It's real stiff. It's kind of snappy, but there's no creep, and it doesn't really it isn't hard to deploy.
Well, it has that satisfying click too. It's like smack. I really like that.
Yeah, that's really neat. And then it comes in these really cool fat carbon colors. So you get the purple haze.
Sure.
Nebula is kind of patriotic. And then you get a nice deep carry clip.
Yep.
This is a nice knife all around. It's kind of really high class. You know, This is a nice dress carry knife.
Definitely.
The inlays are flush fit. There's no big ridges on them. Really cool. Two blade shapes, drop point, harpoon.
Yeah. It's a great size. I can see carrying that every day. Like you said, it's definitely an elevated carry for sure. But man, they're just made really well by Riot. You know what you get from them.
Yeah,
you're going to get quality every time for sure. M390 blade steel. These are going to be just small quantities, limited quantities, kind of like this Bailout. And once they're gone, and that's it. So you definitely want to check these out. All right, next up this week, guys, we have received a pretty cool batch from Dave Curtis, Custom Knives. Very cool guy. He started out quite a while ago doing water jet cutting for a lot of people. Really neat skill that he has. Well, he's really branched out into his F3 flipper, which is really neat. It comes in 3 different sizes. He's done all these different colors and textures, which he's got wild names for, which is pretty cool. But we've actually got all 3 sizes here with us today, Kitch. Yep. So you've got your large, your medium, and your compact. What's your favorite size?
I like the medium. I think it's just kind of a good medium, but it's a really nice knife, the F3. I remember whenever I first got into knives, the F3 was kind of like one of the grails that people would try to really find. They were kind of hard to get.
Sure.
So they've come around a little bit more. They're a little bit easier to get. I think that this is our second run of them in a few months.
Yeah.
So that's nice to see. And these are Magna Cut, and we have a variety of blade shapes. They do a really good drop point. You get a nice Wharncliffe. You even get a Spanto.
Oh, cool.
This one is the drop point. It's hollow ground, and it's two-tone. So this guy is super thin behind the edge, really slicey.
That's nice.
Ergonomics are great. You get real good jimping up here. Get a nice front finger choil. This one's got kind of this milled texture on it and real cool flame anode. Yeah. I really like this knife. I think that if you're looking for a custom, these aren't super crazy expensive either. So sure, you can get into a custom at a pretty reasonable price. And then the quality is there. They're going to be Magna Cut too, so you get that big jump up in steel too.
Definitely. I like all the texturing on this titanium that he does. And I know when he came out with these frame locks, number one, I love the clip too. I know you're a clip guy. It's got a pretty cool clip. He came up with this like spot pivot. Yep. So he was, I think, one of the first people to introduce this where it's like an over travel.
Yeah.
So the pivot actually stops your frame lock bar from over travel, which is really neat. Thought he did a great job on that.
Yeah.
So the large is considerably bigger. So if you got bigger hands out there, that's a perfect size. And you got your compact for a super, small EDC.
Yeah, the large is definitely a pretty big knife. The compact, actually, even though it looks really small, full 4-finger grip on it. With the choil, it's really roomy. You can even kind of cap the blade.
Yeah.
Ergonomically, I think that this guy is probably one of my favorites. I just like the more blade, so I would pick the medium. But this is an awesome EDC knife, especially if you're looking for kind of that elevated carry, that fancy custom knife that you can kind of carry every day.
Yep.
This is going to be the one for sure.
Yeah. Curtis Knives, guys, check them out on our website. They are sweet. Kitch, I know you're going to love these. So we also got in some cool stuff from Protech this week, and including basically 3 new models of the Rockeye.
Yeah.
So I know you love it. It's a bigger SBR, and we're going to tell the people why they're different.
Yeah.
So this one is all black, CPM D2.
D2.
Very cool. So they do a special run of these in a certain model pretty much every year, and I know you love the steel.
I do.
So you got to like this knife, right?
I do.
It's got to be one of your faves.
Yeah, I really like whenever they do these CPM D2 runs because I think that CPM D2 is kind of an underrated steel. It's really tough. It holds a really good edge, and it's pretty easy to sharpen. The old adage used to be like, it would take a lousy edge and hold it forever. Right. But with today's sharpening, techniques and stuff, you can really get this stuff pretty screaming sharp, and it'll hold it for a really long time, especially for a steel that's like, kind of old.
Right, and it's not like D2.
No, it's not. It's not your grandpa's D2.
Exactly.
It's particle metallurgy, so you get real fine grain structure in there. It's real easy to sharpen. It's actually.
Do you like the coating on D2, on that CPM D2?
To me, like if I have a D2 knife, I want to patina it, but I understand what they're doing. This is a more tactical knife anyway.
Sure.
So you kind of want to get rid of that. But yeah, being D2 is like. It's as close to stainless as you can get in a carbon steel anyway. So it's pretty hard to like rust if you take care of it, keep it coated in oil.
Sure.
The coating is going to definitely enhance that a lot. So really, as long as you keep a light coating of oil on your edge, it's probably not going to rust.
Sure.
It's good stuff. It's a really awesome blade steel. It's a little old school. It's kind of cool to see it come into kind of a modern knife. And then we've talked about the Rockeye before. We all really like it.
Yeah, this year they've really come back quite a bit. Yeah.
Excellent ergonomics. Really cool, like a big, hefty, chunky EDC auto carry. And then I really like this blue one. The blue one is not in D2. This one's a regular S35.
S35, yeah.
But man, they like fire hard. Ergonomics are great. And then if you move over again, we have the textured operator. So you get kind of 2 cool things going in one. You get the tritium insert, sterile blade. There's not a single marking on this knife. It doesn't say Protech anywhere.
It's also CPM D2.
Also
a
D2.
lot like this one. It's got the DLC on it, but there's so many other upgrades on this one.
Yeah, if you look at them, it's basically, close to the same knife. You get this real nice smooth texture that's like, it's not going to like tear up your pocket, but it's really grippy.
Feels good, yeah.
And then you get the tritium button, which is really cool.
Awesome.
And sterile blade. And then still, like you said, CPM D2. So this is another part of like the special run that they do in that every year.
Yep.
Really cool knife. I think that this is probably one of my favorite knives to come out. I'll probably end up trying to snag one of these. It's a good guy. I like a lot.
Definitely. So these CPM D2 runs, guys, like they just do them once a year, and that's it. So if you're interested in these, you definitely want to get on one of these as soon as you can. All right, guys, finally this week we have the Coho fixed blade from RMJ Tactical. Pretty neat little knife, Kitch. I feel like it's kind of like an EDC. It looks like a great size for EDC.
For sure. Yeah, I actually own one of the first versions of this. This is kind of the Gen 2. So you get an upgrade in blade steel to Nitro V instead of 52100, which is
cool. They're
very similar. 52100 is a carbon steel. Nitro V is a very stainless steel. So they have very similar properties as far as like your toughness, edge retention. What you get out of Nitro V is you get a really stable edge, so you can take it way back, really thin, and you can kind of wail on this thing, and it won't break or chip. It'll probably just roll. Mine being 52100 and being very similar, I used to just kind of strop it.
Sure.
So you get Nitro V, and then you get titanium hardware. So you can take these scales apart. If you had 2 Cohos, you could swap the scales on them. I don't know if they're going to sell scales later on down the line or not, but that's kind of an upgrade. The old ones were just pinned. It's a really nice EDC fixed blade, though. Like, if you look at the blade shape, it's a Warncliffe kind of sheep's foot guy.
Yeah.
It's real pointy, though, so you can actually do a lot of piercing with it still.
Sure.
It's got a nice swedge up here.
I was going to say, I like that swedge.
A real strong tip, and then ergonomically, man, they're really awesome. You can really kind of use this however you want.
Absolutely.
Reverse grip. Really neat. Of course, as with most like fixed blades and especially RMJs, it could be used as kind of like a last-ditch defensive tool too.
Yeah.
I use mine to cut boxes a lot. It's kind of like the perfect box cutting shape.
Yeah.
Get a nice Kydex sheath on these guys with IWB loops.
Oh, nice.
They fit pretty snug. They're just a nice all-around little EDC.
I'd say
fix
for
blade.
RMJ, I'm with you, man. Usually they make a lot of bigger designs that I'm just like, but man, this feels really good in hand, guys. And this jimping up here is really comfortable. Like it's not aggressive.
Nope.
It feels really good. Like you get a good grip. It's just smoothed out really well.
Yeah, everything's rounded.
Love the coating on this thing too. It looks great.
Tungsten Cerakote.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, looks
Great
good.
blade shape.
Don't have to worry about rust. Great sheath retention.
Yeah. These are in stock right now at GPKNIVES.com.
All right, guys, we took a look at some really cool knives this week. My favorite is the Benchmade SHOT Show Edition. You guys hit the comments down below. Let us know what your favorite knife from this week was. Make sure you like and subscribe. All the other knives this week are down in the description box below, so go check them out. See you guys next week.
Thank you.